The New York Knicks recently declined to trade for Grant Williams in a trade that would have sent Quentin Grimes to the Dallas Mavericks. And obviously, we have to talk about this abomination of a trade idea from the Mavericks. So let's jump right into it, as we always do. What's up, guys? Welcome back to Knicks Digest. It's Chris here, and I am not wearing any Knicks gear right now, but who cares? We're going to jump right into the video today because, per Stefan Bondy, the New York Knicks rejected a trade offer from the Dallas Mavericks that was centered around Quentin Grimes and Grant Williams. Yes, I have a hat on now. Now, also from Mavs Fan for Life Nation, they tweeted out, per Bondy again, that the Mavericks showed interest, but their package was quickly turned down by the Knicks, a source said. Now, I don't know what that means, but that certainly means the Mavericks almost certainly offered a deal for Quentin Grimes that would have given the Knicks Grant Williams and like a second-round pick. And Leon Rose probably didn't even say no. He probably just hung up the phone and then laughed and then was just like, all right, well, the Mavericks have officially lost their minds. Look, it's not the Knicks' fault that the Mavericks have built their team poorly, but I also don't just want to go out and insult the Dallas Mavericks, even though their fans are really hateful towards the New York Knicks, because their own franchise didn't recognize how good Jalen Brunson is, and I don't see how that's our fault. But look, basically, they've had Grant Williams be their starting power forward for most of this season, and he's only 6'6", which gives me worries. And he's also just not good enough. It came out not that long ago that the Knicks are not going to trade Quentin Grimes for someone unless they are a clear upgrade. They don't want to replace someone at the end of the bench. And that is exactly what they would be doing if they got Grant Williams. Grant Williams would not play heavy minutes with the Knicks. Even with Randall out, Grant Williams would not start over Josh Hart at the 4. That's just not happening, guys. I don't see the point in this trade. Obviously, Leon Rose did not either. And the Knicks turned it down. Look, Grant Williams is a fine NBA role player. He doesn't suck. And who am I to say that Grant Williams would be bad at basketball when I'm in here with NBA 2K on in the background? And that's the only form of competitive basketball that I play outside of a rec league where I average 4 points a game. So clearly, I can't really say someone's bad at basketball, but I will say this. Quentin Grimes is better at basketball than Grant Williams. And if the Knicks are going to trade Quentin Grimes, I don't see why they would trade him for a player like this who's going to be at the back of the Knicks rotation. He'd be in it. Williams would be in the Knicks rotation, but he would be in the back end getting 10 minutes a night. The Knicks have already shown they don't want to do that, and it would make no sense to do that. They have Grimes, who's a young player, a 3-and-D guy, who has value because whatever team trades for him can determine the contract extension they want to give him and have those rights over him that basically Grimes can't go anywhere. He would only become a restricted free agent if the team that trades for him does not sign an extension. And so even if he does sign a deal, the team can just match it. It feels like he's not going to play out his contract with the Knicks. Very few rookies ever do. The only one who really ever has in recent years has been Mitchell Robinson, who has stuck around for a while, and RJ Barrett, who got traded in the first year of his contract extension. And now RJ's balling out. Shout out RJ Barrett. We love RJ Barrett forever. But now, talking about the Knicks, I don't see why they would do this, as I said. I don't see why the Mavericks would offer this and think they would get anywhere with it. But it is clear that Grimes has some value. As we saw on January 18th, the Knicks, per sources, are aware of Grimes' frustration and are trying to move him before the trade deadline. There's also a willingness to take on multi-year deals that could be packaged in a later blockbuster. A source said the Mavericks have expressed interest in Quentin Grimes. So we've known the Mavs have had interest for him, but clearly they're not trying to pay too high of a price for him. I would assume if they really wanted to get Quentin Grimes, if they really wanted to go out there and be like, we want Grimes, we want to start him, we have Luka, who's a big point guard, so we can kind of start Grimes at the 3 and get away with it, even though he's just 6'5", and have him next to Luka and Kyrie and be a really good defender on the wing, even though they also have Josh Green and Jalen Hardy, so they do have a lot of guys Grimes' size anyway who are solid defenders, but Grimes would be the best on-ball defender on that lineup the second he would get there. They would have had to give up one of Hardy, and that could have sort of been some swap, but I don't know how the Knicks feel interested in him. Josh Green, who's a similar player, but a better shooter and a worse defender, or give the Knicks Tim Hardaway Jr., and the Knicks also give you Evan Fournier, and then maybe a second rounder, or just Grimes and Fournier for Tim Hardaway Jr. in general. I think that could have been a realistic trade also. But Grant Williams isn't going to get it done. We've already seen the Knicks aren't going to do that, as I've said a few times now. And let's just take a look. These are Grant Williams' stats on the season. He's averaging 8 points, 3.5 rebounds, and 2 assists, while shooting 41% from the field and 38% from 3. His PER is in the dumpster. Look, he's not a bad player, but he's mainly a spot-up shooter, and he's not a good enough spot-up shooter to be a starter on a championship team. And the Dallas Mavericks very much know that, which is why they're trying to move him. The Mavs don't have a lot of big men. Outside of Derek Lively, who's actually currently dealing with an injury, nothing major, but he is out for a little bit of time. The Mavericks are in a weird spot because they have Luka Doncic, who's one of the best players on the planet. You could kind of go either way with it. I would say he's the best point guard in the NBA. Second is Shea, and as of right now, as of today, Brunson's third, with the way that they're all playing right now. But that all meaning all point guards in the NBA. But outside of that, and outside of Kyrie, who's having a good season with them, they don't have much. They got some decent role players, but all of them are wings. All of them are guards. They need some sort of a forward. So I don't see why they would even do this. I don't see what the point to that would have been, unless you're going real small and playing Josh Green at the power forward, which seems like a terrible idea to me. So clearly the Mavericks are in some trouble, and they're trying to make their team better in any ways possible, but this is not the way for them to get it done. It's just not going to work. And if you look at Quentin Grimes' stats are not unsimilar to the stats of Grant Williams, but there is a difference. Because, yeah, Grimes is averaging 7 points, 2 rebounds, 1 assist, shooting 40% from the field and 36% from 3. He's actually shooting worse from 3, and his PER is only slightly better than Grant Williams's. But Grimes' defense is far better. And on top of that, Quentin Grimes does, in fact, have contract rights that Grant Williams doesn't. When Grant Williams' contract runs out, what happens is that Williams becomes an unrestricted free agent. And as I've already said about Grimes, he becomes a restricted free agent. So you get a lot of power over Quentin Grimes' next contract, whoever has him on their team. Now, I'm going to go out on a limb and say that I do expect the New York Knicks to keep Quentin Grimes over the trade deadline. And maybe I'll be wrong. Maybe he'll get traded before I finish filming this video, which would be real funny. But I do think they're going to keep him, and I think we're going to see him get moved over the offseason. Woj has said multiple times that the Knicks are going to trade for a star this offseason, and he is part of CAA, so he would know a good deal about that. We did a video on that with Bruce Brown in the thumbnail if you do want to find that. It is a good video, and we talk about Woj being CAA and why he might know this and why it could definitely be true. So I think they should keep him and use him as another piece in a trade. Look, there's not going to be too many packages better than offering a team Quentin Grimes, Evan Fournier's contract, so you opt into the team option, make him an expiring. That team that gets him instantly buys him out. And then you also get 5-6 first-round picks on top of it, depending on protections and swaps and all that. That's a good trade for a star player. Now, it also depends on who the star is, because it's going to dictate the market value and how much you actually have to pay for them, depending on how good they really are. But I think the Knicks are better off using Grimes as a young player to give to a team that is trading a star. Teams like to get back at least some sort of young player in the process, and Grimes is a decent one. I mean, the Utah Jazz really wanted him in the Donovan Mitchell trade talk, so clearly teams value Quentin Grimes a lot, and the Knicks should definitely not make any moves like this. Hopefully Grimes sticks around for the rest of the season, and then after that, they can focus on moving him. I don't think the Knicks should do much at the deadline. It seems like Malcolm Brogdon's not getting moved. The Knicks could do something for Clarkson, and in that case, Quentin Grimes would get traded. Or the Knicks could do something for Alec Burks, and I don't think Grimes will get moved in that. So we'll definitely see, and make sure you're tuned into those videos. We're going off because it is deadline week. I'm filming this on Tuesday, February 6th. I think this is going to come out tomorrow for me on Wednesday. So it is probably a day, almost 24 hours exactly before the deadline, and we're probably filming a ton of videos. Darielle and I are going to go live right after the deadline ends and basically talk about what the Knicks did, what they didn't do, what they should have done, and how other moves will affect the other teams, and you don't want to miss that. So make sure you subscribe to Knicks Digest, like this video, get us in that algorithm. Turn on post notifications, because why not? You're getting 5 million notifications to your phone anyway. I know you are. I know you're getting texts. I know you're getting Twitter updates and Instagram DMs and stuff of your friends sending you reels. I know, because I am also in my 20s doing this, and that ranges from age 12 to like 40. So I know you're getting a bunch of notifications. A few more are not going to hurt you. Have a great day. Go Knicks.